Welcome. My name is Danielle, and I am so glad you're here. Today, I have a 60-minute trauma-informed Vinyasa flow class prepared for you. And really, trauma-informed classes, they're not much different than your regular flow classes. They still have the same poses, the same structure that we're accustomed to. Really just the goal of trauma-informed yoga is to be moving in our bodies in a more intentional, conscious way. So, we all have trauma. It's hard to go throughout life without experiencing some type of trauma. But most of us, we experience the trauma, our body processes it, and we move on, and it doesn't linger. But for others, for whatever reasons, that the trauma, it just sits in the body and it just kind of starts to weigh on you, and you can't quite process it and let it out. And there's nothing good or bad or otherwise about it. It's one of those things about being human. So the goal of this class is to start to bring that attention, that intention inwards, giving our bodies the space to start to process that trauma. And we're not going to be actually processing that trauma in this class. No, that's work done off the mat. But we're just helping to give our bodies the space and the safety that they need to start to see and acknowledge and sit with that trauma in a non-triggering way. So there's going to be lots of options available, and you can kind of choose what feels right in your body and modify as needed. And it's really hard. Everyone has different types of trauma, and different things can be triggering for different people. So it's really hard to get a class that covers all types of trauma and keeps it safe. So what I encourage you today to do is to listen to your bodies and identify what's triggering to you, and don't do it, right? If forward folds don't feel safe, then you don't have to go all the way down. You can keep your head lifted and just do a half forward fold. If downward dogs don't feel comfortable, don't do them. Do a tabletop instead, or go back into child's pose. There's so many ways that you can make your yoga work for you. And I just encourage you to listen to your body, and most importantly, be kind to your body. So I will have many options. You can take what you need and leave the rest. All I ask for you to do is to breathe and to focus in on that breath. At the very beginning, we will do a little bit of a meditation to help bring a sense of peace and calmness to the body. So at any point in this practice, if you're feeling a little too stimulated, you can pause and go back to that meditation. And then when you're ready, you can join us again. Or if you would like to just meditate for a full hour, that is perfectly okay. Do what you need to do, and whatever you do, I'm proud of you. So all you need is your mat and yourself. So go ahead and get whatever is, if you want props, you can get those too, right? So get all that ready and meet us on our mats. Maybe get a nice calming playlist going, and we will get started in a nice seated position. All right, so here at the beginning, you can choose to sit cross-legged, maybe in half lotus, maybe in full lotus, maybe sitting on a cushion, or if you would really rather do it lying down, that is valid too. Whatever position is calling to you, let's go ahead and just start to settle in. So if you are seating, maybe adjust your sitting bones a little bit. You want your sacrum really grounding down in the earth, a strong base to lift up out of. Maybe your hands are on your knees. Maybe they're coming gently folded in your lap. You can also put one on your belly, one on your hearts. All beautiful options. And then maybe having a soft gaze out in front of you. Maybe gently closing the eyes. And just taking a moment here at the beginning to start to bring that attention, that intention inward. So we are here to help give the body space to be. Most of us are dysregulated in some way, not fully connected, our minds and our breath and our bodies. And so to begin in a trauma-informed practice, we got to get back to that regulation. So first and foremost, let's start to bring that focus to the breath. So sitting up tall, shoulders over your hips, start to notice your inhales through the nose. Maybe the sensation of the air in the nostrils. That cold air on the inhales. That warm air on the exhales. And just starting to focus that mind on the breath. Your only real goal for these next 60 moments is just continue to focus on the breath. And if you would like to go a little further, start to call to mind a felt sense of calm, of peace. Maybe starting at the heart, bringing that awareness to heart center. Bring to mind that felt sense of joy and relaxation and warmth. Maybe feeling that felt sense of calm radiating out from the heart into every fiber of your being. Feel that sense of contentment and calm washing over you, embracing you in its warmth. And if you're having trouble calling to mind that felt sense on its own, if it's not stored within you just yet, that's okay. Maybe call to mind a person, a place, or experience that fills you with joy. Bringing that person, place, experience into your heart center and letting that cultivate that radiant sense of peace and calm. And know that that felt sense is always within you. It is always there, ready to be used. So calling it to mind and keeping it present. And knowing that it is within your heart. So we'll start to move now from this felt sense of peace. With every inhale, bringing it in deeper. Bringing it in to every fiber of your being. So it's one more deep inhale, seal that focus intention in. Open mouth, exhale, sigh it out. And then blink your eyes open if you've shut them. All right, so we will begin to move. From that seated position, on your inhale, arms go out and up over the head. And exhale, bringing your hands in through heart center. Inhale, arms out and up, breathing space. Exhale, pulling it in, cultivating that heart center. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, in through heart center. All right, one more time. Inhale, arms out and up. And on your exhale, your left hand is going to go onto your right knee. Right arm goes behind you, maybe grounding down, maybe coming onto your low spine or your hip crease. But whichever option, you're grounding down through a sitting bones, lifting up, and then maybe gently looking over our shoulder, going into that twist. Right, inhale, hands back through center. And on your exhale, we're going to twist over to the left. So right hand going to left knee, left hand behind you, grounding down through your sitting bones to lift up, and then start to look over that shoulder. Inhale back through center. And then exhale, hinging at the hips, starting to walk those hands in front of you, going into a nice gentle fold. Elongating through the spine, lifting the crown of the head, and then going deeper. Imagining that we're leading with the heart, leading with that love. And then inhale back through center. Your right leg is going to extend out, left leg stays where it is. Inhale, arms out and up. And exhale, twist over that right leg and go over the leg to fold in. Leading with the heart, a nice long spine, and gently breathing in deeper. And inhale back through center. And then we'll do the same thing, just switching out the crossed legs, going onto the left side. All right, so coming back through center, grounding down on your inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, drawing it in. Inhale, out and up. Exhale, drawing it in. Inhale, out and up. Exhale, draw into heart center. One more time, inhale, arms out and up. On your exhale, twisting to the left. So right hand to left knee, left hand behind you, lengthening through the spine before we twist deeper. And breathing length through that whole long spine. Inhale back through center. And on your exhale, twisting to the right. So left hand to right knee, right arm behind you, length in the heart, twisting behind. And inhale back through center. And exhale, hinging at the hips. A flat back brings you forward. And folding in. Maybe going a little bit deeper this set, maybe not. But just knowing this is the start of our practice. So we don't have to turn it on too much, too soon. And walking our hands back up. We're going to take that left leg out in front of us. Right leg stays bent in. Inhale, arms out and up. And then exhale, rotating over that left leg, starting to fold over. Going for that separate leg, forward fold. Trying to lead with the heart, nice long spine. And breathing deeply. All right, and back up through center. Right now we're going to go ahead and make our way into a tabletop. So maybe take a moment to just feel it out, sort through those hips, those wrists, but eventually working our way to having wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Toes can be flat or untucked, but either option, we want our navel to spine. Shoulders away from the ears. Really bring that awareness to that core. A strong, strong table pushing down to the hands. Maybe staying with this if you want a little bit more sensation. Starting to take that right leg out behind you, grounding down the right toes. And take a moment here to just rock into the ankles. Maybe forward and backwards, maybe wiggling side to side, just kind of waking up that right ankle. And then if you want to stay with this, maybe pause, really feel that sensation. Or to go a little further, on your next inhale, navel to spine, start to lift that right leg behind you. That right foot is pointed down. You're squaring your hips to the floor. Maybe staying with that, tucking, untucking the toes, just finding what works. And then extending the left arm in front of you if you want a little bit more. So we're imagining that hand is reaching up, thumb pointed up as if we're trying to reach and grab a hand out in front of us. Stretching east to west, full length of the spine. Holding, or a little bit more on your exhale. Start to round in, trying to touch that knee to elbow. Inhale, reach out. And exhale, draw it back in. Inhale, reaching out, stretching, taking up space. Exhale, round in. Inhale, reach one more time, reset. Then left hand down. Right knee down, going back into our tabletop. Maybe take a moment and cat-cow, reset that spine. And then we will do the other side. So as you're ready, really pressing down through the fingers, through the knuckles, grounding on those hands. That left leg steps behind us, grounding those toes. And rocking into it's here to start, waking up that ankle, waking up that calf. Maybe pausing at a spot that you feel needs the most sensation. Where are you stiff? Where are you feeling it today? And then you're welcome to stay with that. If you want to go further, on your next inhale, navel to spine, lifting that left leg, left foot pointing down. Maybe that right toe is tucked, maybe not. Staying with this, or to take it further. Inhale, that right arm reaches forward, thumb is pointing up, driving that heel back, stretching that fingers forward. Staying with this, if you want to go even further. On your exhale, rounding in, knee to elbow. Inhale, reaching out. Exhale, drawing it in towards that heart center. And inhale, reaching out. Exhale, round in one more time. Inhale, reaching out, hold for just a second. And then everything grounds down. Taking a moment to reset, shake it out. And maybe going with some circles with the hips. Maybe staying in one side, maybe C-shaping to one side, maybe the other. Just starting to connect with that spine here for a moment. All right, sticking with that. When you feel ready, we'll walk our hands forward a handprint, tuck the toes, and lift ourselves up into our first downward facing dog. Now, if downward facing dog does not feel safe or accessible today, you are always welcome to take your downward dogs as a table. This is a valid option, or you can always rest in child's pose instead. But if down dog does feel safe, we'll go ahead and settle in. So really taking a moment here to feel it out. Maybe walking into one leg or the other. Maybe bending both knees, pushing the chest back, just feeling it out. It's the first down dog of the day, maybe of the week. So bringing that awareness in. And in whatever shape you're taking, let's take a moment here to pause and call back to mind that felt sense of calm and presence. Right? This is the start of our practice. We'll get a little bit more dynamic movement, but we want to make sure we are moving from a space of calm. So let's seal that presence in. Inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale, sigh it out. And then we'll begin to move with the breath. So on your next inhale, navel to spine, start to walk your hands back to your feet. Coming into a forward fold at the back of the mat, but that head can stay up as high as needed to for you to feel safe in your room. Inhale, round it up, roll it up, chin comes up last, arms up overhead, arms to heart center. All right, inhale, arms out and up, and exhale, fold into your height. Inhale, halfway lift, heart shines forward, and exhale, fold. Inhale, start to walk those hands through forward, going into your downward dog or tabletop. And settle in for a breath, reconnecting with that felt sense. All right, on your next inhale, start to bend the knees, tippy toe the feet forward, coming into a forward fold at the top of our mats. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, round it up, roll it up. Arms up overhead. Arms to heart center. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, shining that heart. Exhale, fold. Plant the hands and tippy toe those legs back into our downward dog or table. Pausing here for a moment, checking, are we regulated? Bringing that felt sense of calm back to the forefront of our hearts. And we're going to do a little bit more movement with breath before we get into our dynamic poses. So if we are in down dog, we're going to drop our knees into tabletop. And on our inhale, pull the heart through for cow. Exhale, push through the hands, round the back in through cats, and start to ride that breath all the way back to our heels. coming into a child's pose. Then on your inhale, picking it back up into table. Then drop the belly, pull the heart through for cow. Then exhale, rounding through the back, pressing into the knuckles, rounding into cat, then going into table. Child's pose. All right, starting to move with your breath now for a couple of rounds. Inhale, lifting up through table, going into cow. And exhale, rounding into cat and pushing through child's. So this is a great way here at the beginning to really call to mind that movement, linking it with breath, and really feeling that breath guide your movement. So imagining that your heart is leading you. It's pulling the chest through. And then that heart is pushing you back, giving you that rest. And knowing that that felt sense in the heart is working through you to find that space and grace in every fiber of your body. All right, maybe coming here and to settle into child's pose for just a moment. Bringing that breath back to that awareness, that focus. And maybe bringing to mind a moment of gratitude for doing the work. You are here. So if child's pose or tabletop is calling to you and this is where you want to stay, please do. Otherwise, we will start to get into a little bit more dynamic movement. So as you're ready, start to make our way up into tabletop. And if you want to go further, start to tuck those toes, lift those legs, and go into downward facing dog. All right, taking a moment, settling in. On your next inhale, right leg lifts. And on your exhale, draw the knee in through, bringing your right foot in between the hands. Feeling it out for a moment, you got your low runner's lunge. On your next inhale, I'm going to step the left foot forward, going into a forward fold. Inhale, arms up overhead. And exhale, hands to heart center. All right, inhale, arms out and up. And exhale, sit down, sit low into our chair pose. Now staying here for a moment, you can always bring your hands into heart center if that helps connect with the heart, or you can reach your hands up, pinky spiraling in. Either option is beautiful, but checking in, we're not gripping with the toes. Can we sink those hips a little bit lower? And as we are ready, we're going to shift the weight into that left leg. On your inhale, picking up that right leg, coming into a three-legged mountain. So pausing for a moment, really flexing that right foot, drawing that right hip down, growing tall through the waist. On your next exhale, going to start to hinge at the hip, draw that right heel back, making our way into a three-legged warrior three, warrior three pose. Just navel to spine, a nice tight core, shoulders away from your ears, extend the chest forward, draw the heel back, and then gently start to bend into that leg to bring that right leg behind you into warrior one. All right, so feeling it out for a moment, heel to heel alignment in the back. Your hips are kind of squaring towards the side corner of your mat. You're really going to feel that stretch in your right hip flexor. Can we bend a little bit more into that left knee? Knee kind of stacking over the ankle, reaching up, final length. And on your exhale, start to windmill those hands down. Pick up that back heel, coming into that low lunge. You can stay with this, dropping the back knee or keeping it lifted. And if you want to go further, on your inhale, that left hand is going to reach back as if you're stringing a bow, reaching up into a little lizard twist. So connecting with your roots here. And again, that back knee can always be down or lifted. You can also kind of feel it out further if you want to go deeper into the hips. Kind of lift that left foot up onto the knife edge side of the foot, pushing that knee out. Maybe gives you the space to reach back and twist up. You know, all beautiful options. And we can stay with this. If you want a little bit more sensation, we're going to make our way into a plank pose, supported side plank. So if your right knee is not grounded, go ahead and ground it down. Swing that right foot out to the side. Start to pivot onto the knife edge side of that left foot. And as you're pushing up through that right hand, reaching up with the left, use that side core to pull that left leg back behind you for a supported side plank. Staying with this. If you want to go a little bit further, you can pick up that right leg too. I'm feeling like coasting a little bit today, but really reaching up, pressing up with the hand, really feeling engagement on your right side body. Can you lift a little bit higher? And then on your exhale, start to plant that left hand. Left foot picks up the left heel. Right leg steps back. And we shift forward to plank, knees raised or lowered. Lower down all the way to the floor. Inhale, pull the heart through for cobra, baby or bigger. Then exhale, fold. Push the hips back through tabletop, coming into child's pose. Then tuck the toes, lift the hips into table or downward facing dog. And taking a moment here in our reset pose to come back to that felt sense of calm, of presence, of peace. Linking our minds with our breath, maybe sealing that lips. Inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale, sigh it out. And then the same movements, same shapes on the other side. So on your next inhale, we're going to lift the left leg. On your exhale, bending the knee, drawing it in through center, placing it between the hands, setting up for low lunge just for a moment. And then on your next inhale, stepping forward into a forward fold at the top of our mats. Inhale, round it up, roll it up, arms up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Maybe closing your eyes, connecting with that breath for just a moment. Then inhale, arms out and up. And exhale, sit down, sit low into our chair pose. So checking here, hands can be heart center, hands can be up, whatever feels safe in your bodies today. But we're lifting the chest up, cow's breath in the spine as we kind of peel the chest back. Gives us the space to sink those hips a little bit lower, wiggling those toes are not gripping. Then as we're ready, shifting the weight into that right leg. On your inhale, we're drawing the left knee up with us into three-legged mountain. Flexing that left foot, that hip is coming 90 degrees at the hip, grounding down through that right leg, lifting us up. Can we find some space? And then on your exhale, driving through the heel, keeping those hips square, making our way into a warrior three. Your hands can stay at heart center. They can take flight behind you. They can even release down if that feels a little safer. All beautiful options, but whichever option you are taking, start to bend into that right knee, stepping that left leg behind us for our warrior one. So heel to heel alignment, focusing on those hips, kind of squaring them to the top corner of our mat. Knee over our heel one day, really feeling that bend into the front leg. Arms up in front of us. Can we lift up through the chest as we sink a little bit more in those hips? Really feeling that stretch in that left hip. Inhale, find space. And exhale, plant those hands down. Picking up that left heel. That knee can stay lifted or tucking it down, coming into our low lunge again. And either option with the knee, if we want more sensation, only an option, we can start to lift that right hand as if we're pulling a bow, hands to shoulder or sky for a nice little lizard twist. And again, that back knee can stay lifted, toes tucked, toes untucked. If you want a little bit deeper stretch in the hip, you can start to push into the knife edge side of that right foot, really open the foot up towards the side, pushing that right knee out. Gives you a space to kind of sink those hips a little bit lower. It also gives you the space and to stretch up higher. And maybe twisting a little bit deeper, you can look up at your hands if it feels okay. All beautiful options. And now there's the optional plank up next. So supported or not, but we're going to start to transition by grounding down that left knee, if we have one already, Swinging that left foot out to the side, pushing more weight into our left hand, feeling engagement on that left side. Start to reach up with the right hand as we lift that right foot and step it behind us for side plank. That knee can stay supported if we like, or we can step it behind us on either side of the foot. All beautiful options, but we are reaching up with that right hand, really feeling activation on that whole right side. Maybe reaching over our ear if it feels okay on the shoulders. We're here for just one more breath. Inhale. And on your exhale, right hand plants down, picking up that right heel. Left foot steps back. Our knees are raised or lowered. We're going to shift down all the way to the floor. Inhale, pull the heart through for cobra or up dog. And then exhale, start to push those hips back, going into tabletop or lifting up into downward facing dog. All right, so we're here for just a few breaths to reset. Maybe coming into table, maybe going in child's pose if it feels okay. Just taking a moment to calm that nervous system back down. Come into that felt sense of calm. Right? Connect back with your heart. And if this is too much for you, if you're already done, you have done enough. You are welcome to go into whatever resting pose. If you want to do more, you are always welcome. And so if that is what's calling to you, let's get into it. Coming back up into table or down dog. One focusing breath. Inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale, sigh it out. And then we'll start to move. So on your inhale, right leg lifts. On your exhale, bringing it through center, bending the knee, stepping it through. Coming into our low lunge for just a breath. And your next inhale, right leg steps forward into a forward fold. Then inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Connecting in with that heart. Inhale, arms out and up. And exhale, going into our chair pose. So maybe trying the same thing with the hands this set, maybe trying something different. Whatever is calling to you. But the lower you sit, the more you activate those arms. It's going to counteract them, keeping you in it, keeping you engaged. Can we find one more breath? Then we're shifting the weight into that left leg, and on your inhale, right leg lifts, coming into that three-legged mountain. We're flexing that foot, really squaring our hips, getting that 90 degree in the hip and the knee. And then on your exhale, driving it back with that heel, leading with the breath, coming into our warrior three. Hands at heart center, maybe taking flight, maybe coming down to the earth to support you. All beautiful options. And then we gently start to bend into that left leg. Whoop. Stepping back for our warrior one. So here just to feel it out, arms up overhead, sinking those hips in, and then on your exhale, start to windmill open into warrior two. So checking in with your roots here, kind of a heel to arch alignment with that right foot kind of angled in. Stretching the arms east to us, really broadening through the collarbones, shoulders away from your ears. Can we bend a little bit more into that left knee, but we want to keep the knee from going past the heel. And keep that knee safe. Can we lengthen and settle? And then on your next inhale, straighten that left leg. Start to reach forward with that left hand, making our way into triangle pose. So the awareness on this is in our hips, imagining our hips opening to the side one day, but we are really opening and activating. So we tend to kind of forget about both legs here, but we really want to feel equal pressure pressing into both feet as we reach up. Maybe a little rotation in your chest, and that left hand is just there for support. So if you were to hover it, you shouldn't lose too much height. Can we stay here for one more breath? And release. Windmill the hands down. Your back heel picks up, coming into our low lunge for just a moment. Staying with this or transitioning into a side plank. So bending, dropping that right knee, swinging the right foot out, pressing the weight into that right hand as we reach up with the left. That gives us a space to engage the left side, stepping that left foot back. Maybe stretching north to south, maybe reaching that left hand over. We really want to feel activation and engagement on that whole right side. Maybe lifting the gaze if it feels okay on the neck. And breathing through it. Can we find calm? And release. Windmill that left hand down, left foot picks up, right foot steps back, and then we flow our way to down dog. Shifting forward, lowering down to cobra or up dog. And then pushing the hips back through table, maybe going all the way to downward facing dog. Nice cleansing breath here for a moment. Resetting, coming back to that felt sense in our hearts. Inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale, sigh it out. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So on your next inhale, left leg lifts. On the exhale, bending the knee, bringing it in through center, placing it between the hands for our low lunge. Feeling it out for just a breath. Then on our inhale, stepping the right foot forward for our forward fold. Inhale, arms out and up, arms up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Connecting with that heart for just a breath. And inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, going into our chair pose. So sinking the weight back into the heels, not in our toes. We're going to make sure our knees are even. Hands at heart center or reaching up. Either option. Engage awareness in that core as we start to shift the weight into that right leg. And on your inhale, picking your left leg up. Flexing that foot, flexing that hip. Growing tall through the waist. Staying here for a moment before we start to drive that heel back into our warrior three. Imagine cow's breath in the spine. Whoop. Losing your balance is perfectly okay. You can bring your hands down or at the heart. And I'm just all sorts of balancing off today. And we're going to start to bend into that knee, stepping into our warrior one. So settling in here for just a breath. Really feeling that activation in that left leg. Inhale, lengthen. And exhale, windmill open into warrior two. So we're thinking that heel to back arch alignment. Left foot is pivoted in. Bending into that right knee. Trying to get that knee directly over that heel one day. Stretching east to west. Shoulders away from your ears. Can we grow a little bit taller as we settle a little bit deeper? Staying with this. And starting to straighten that left leg. Reach forward with that left hand as we make our way into triangle pose. So we're really imagining that right hip is going down, really feeling that activation. And trying to open our hips to the side wall as we're reaching up. Maybe a little bit of rotation. And again, this right hand is not there for, it's just for support. It's for you to hover your hand. Hopefully we don't lose too much height. Can we stretch a little bit more? On your exhale, windmill the hands back down into that low lunge. Picking up that left heel. Maybe staying with this. We would like to go further into that side plank. Only an option, never an obligation. Maybe dropping that back knee. Maybe swinging that foot out. Putting the weight into your left hand as we open up with the right. Then using our core to pick up that right leg, stepping it back for our side plank. Stretching up, maybe reaching over the ear and connecting with our heart. Calming that nervous system. Can we stay here for just a few more breaths? And then release. Windmill that right hand down, pick up that right heel, left foot steps back. And make your way to downward dog. Knowing that movement is only an option. And child's pose is always a valid choice. Can connecting back in with that heart center. So let's take a breath here, maybe in tabletop, maybe in child's pose. Bringing that felt sense of calm and peace back to front and center. Maybe noticing in your bodies, what are we feeling? What sensations are coming up? And just giving them space to process through. Not clinging to them, just noticing them and letting them go. And bringing that felt sense of calm from the heart, radiating out through the body. Just a little bit more movement before our final resting pose. So if you're ready to do further, we will start to move. So coming back up into your tabletop or your downward dog, if it feels safer. Either option, we're actually going to start to walk the feet forward, coming into a forward fold at the top of our mat. But our head is going only as low as it feels safe. So we're going to start to move with our breath a little bit. So we're going to wiggle walk our feet out to mat's width, kind of setting up for a Malasana squat. And then there's a couple of options here. So if you would like to just stay in a forward fold, you're welcome to. Just feeling that stretch on your inner legs. Or we're going to start to move with our breath. So on our inhale, lengthen that spine. And then on your exhale, start to bend the knees, going into a Malasana squat. And so going down as low as you need to, and it might be right here, might be all the way down. You can also put a block. If you want to sit on a block, that's option 2. Maybe having the hands on the floor, or maybe bringing those hands into heart center, making connection with your knees. Whatever feels right in your body, that's what we're going to do. And you can stay here in a Malasana or start to move with your breath for a couple of rounds. So on your inhales, plant the hands, start to lift those hips into that forward fold. And on your exhale, start to sink the hips back down, going into that Malasana squat. Inhale, lift up into forward fold. Exhale, go into the squat. One more time. Inhale, lifting up to that forward fold. Exhale, sitting down into that squat. And staying here for a few breaths, or if you want to get more sensation, start to plant that right hand down, pull the left hand up, going into a little side twist. Really trying to rotate that chest over to that left wall. Breathe here for just one more moment. And then release. Doing the other side. Inhale, lifting the hips into that Malasana, or the forward fold. Exhale, sink the hips down to that squat. Inhale, into that forward fold. Exhale, we squat. Inhale, one more time into that fold. And exhale, go into our squats. Settling in here for just the breath, knowing that this is enough. If you would like to go further, left hand plants down. We're going to open that right arm up to that side wall, doing a nice little twist. One more breath. And then release. We're going to finally make our way to our mat. So start to sink those hips back, reach those hands forward, and eventually we pop our hips down into a seated position. All right, so I'm going to turn to face you for our last little stretching. I'm going into a wide-legged fold. So maybe adjusting your seat for a moment, really feeling those sitting bones making contact, bringing your legs out as wide as is comfortable. On your inhale, arms out and up. And on your exhale, hinging at the hips, starting to fold in to our forward fold. I'm just breathing here for a little bit, calling to mind that felt sense of calm. Maybe the gaze is at your hands, maybe closing the eyes, bringing that attention inwards. And just noticing what feelings are coming up right now. Want your legs to stay a little active to keep the muscles safe. So kind of making sure your feet are flexed a little bit. One day pointing upwards, just making sure they're kind of working towards that. Shoulders away from the ears. Can we fold a little bit deeper as we connect in with the heart? Finding that felt sense of joy radiating out through the body. All right, and then gently starting to walk our hands back up. Keeping that upper body as it is. Inhale, arms out and up. And on your exhale, we're going to start to take that right hand down on that right leg, reaching it down to the side. We're really trying to kind of feel a stretch on the upper body. So your left arm is going to reach up and over. Maybe we're staying with this. Maybe we can wiggle that right hand out a bit more. Kind of imagining twisting our chest up, maybe reaching over the ear. Maybe one day you'll find it so flexible you'll be able to reach over and grab that foot. All beautiful options. Whatever option we're taking, we're just breathing through it. That foot is still active. We're trying to keep those muscles safe. And breathing into that left rib. Can we soften the jaw, soften the brow? All right, on your inhale, that left arm is going to raise us up, lift us up. Coming back in front of us. Maybe doing a little twist here for a moment, taking that right hand to that left knee, twisting over that left shoulder just to kind of reset. And then coming back through center, we will do the other side. So inhale, arms out and up. And then exhale, starting to take that left hand to left leg, sliding it down, reaching up and over with that right arm. So maybe we're staying here. If you're feeling more open, that left hand can come out in front of the leg. Maybe wiggle, walk forward a bit. That right arm is still reaching up and over. Maybe one day it makes contact. But that left foot and that right feet, they're active. We are breathing into that right rib. Maybe closing the eyes, connecting back with our breath. Calming that nervous system. Finding that felt sense of joy and love. Breathing deeply. And I guess we release. Inhale, arms up. Right hand going behind us. Maybe resetting it with a little twist. Bringing that left hand to the right knee. Maybe looking over that right shoulder. And then coming back to center. Taking our hands behind our knees, kind of gently starting to bend the knees, lift them up. Bringing the knees in. Grounding the feet in front of you, maybe doing some windshield wipers really quick, just loosen up those hips. And then we got one more little flow before we make it to our final resting pose. Okay, so when you're ready, coming back through tabletop, maybe staying with this, or maybe lifting up into down dog just for a transition. Then on your inhale, right leg lifts. On that exhale, bringing it in, right knee to right wrist, grounding down. That right foot coming, working towards that left wrist. It might not make it there today. And setting up for pigeon pose. So most important thing here is that left leg is going straight up from the hip. So maybe making some micro adjustments. That right foot can bend in as much as you need to get that leg straight. So setting it up with what feels right today for you. Kind of want your hips square, pressing down on the floor. Inhale, lengthen the spine. We can stay here, finding space and grace. Or to go further, only an option, starting to walk those hands down. Maybe resting on your shoulders. Maybe resting on your elbows. Maybe taking those elbows out wide, one hand on top of the other, and bringing the forehead down. Whatever is feeling right today. If you're really flexible and want even further, you could actually take that left hand and walking it through to your right knee and bringing the left shoulder down. Maybe taking that right hand behind you if that feels right. It's just how deep do we want our pigeon to be today? But if you are staying up, we're growing tall through the spine, crown of the head shining forward. And if we're bringing ourselves down, we are calming that breath, connecting with that heart, and calling to mind that felt sense of peace. You are safe here. Your body has its chance to speak. So calming the mind right now, can we listen? What is your body trying to tell you today? We're here for just a few more breaths. All right, then let's release. So bringing our hands underneath us, tucking that back toe. Maybe starting to lift the hips, maybe bringing the leg back in through table, or maybe shaking that leg out for a second in downward dog. Just doing whatever feels good, shaking out that right leg, and then we will go over to the other side. So resetting that spine on your inhale, left leg lifts, and then bending the knee, bringing it in through for pigeon on that left leg. Sinking the hips down. Checking, making sure that right leg is coming straight out of the hips, bending that left leg as much as we need to get those hips square. Maybe staying here, lengthening up, growing tall through your crown of your head, or starting to walk those hands forward, coming onto our elbows, shoulders away from ears, or going further, bringing our elbows out, palms on top of each other, resting the forehead. And just starting to connect back to that breath. We are here. We have done it. We are at that final wind down. So whatever feelings are coming up, good, bad, or otherwise, this is your body just trying to speak, trying to be heard. So calming that mind. Let your body speak. And just notice, what can you observe? All right, starting to lift that upper body back up if you did go down. And if you would like to transition through down dog and shake it out, you can. But I'm just going to shift my weight over to my left hip and swing that right leg back in front of me and setting up for one final little forward fold. So shifting our hips, adjusting on both sitting bones, making contact. Legs are straight in front of us, feet are flexed. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, hinging at the hips, leading with the heart, coming into our last little forward fold. Long spine. You can take your hands on your feet to pull the upper body. You can also take your peace sign fingers on your big toes to pull on the toes, simultaneously pressing the toes into the fingers to help feel those inner leg lines engage. Lifting the chest, maybe bending the elbows, gives you the space to soften in. Going only as low as it feels okay in your body. And knowing that we are here. We're almost to the end. Bringing that attention in towards that heart center, that radiating self-love and calm and peace. Slowing that heart rate back down. All right, and then inhale back up through center. We can stay with this. Or I think we're going to go ahead and go on to one little supine twist. So shift the hips forward a little bit, bringing the hands in front of you, lowering down onto our backs. We're going to bring those knees in to heart center. Give our knees a nice big bear hug. Give them some love. They're here doing the work. And then staying with this, or taking your hands out to the side, Legs are going to stay as they are. All we're going to do is tip them over to the left, and our gaze is going to go over to the right. One nice little calming twist here at the end. Breathing into that right rib, trying to make our shoulders making contact with the ground one day. Maybe that left hand is coming on top of your right thigh. Softening the gaze, softening the brow. And just giving yourself some space to be. One more deep breath, inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale, side out. And we'll bring it to the other side. So arms come back out to the side like airplane wings. Engage that core. Can you use your core to pull your knees back in through center? And then keep them as they are. Just going to tip them over to the rights. So again, shifting those hips. You want your shoulder making contact one day, maybe gazing over that right hand. Sorry, gazing over the left hand. The right hand can come to your knees as a nice little counter pressure. And just softening in, breathing into your left rib now. Can we breathe in space and grace? And breathe out stress. Maybe intentionally starting to make your exhales a little bit longer than your inhales. Starting to calm that body down. You know, our inhales are stimulating our parasympathetic, they're stimulating our sympathetic nervous system, that fight or flight. So as we inhale, our bodies are priming us to move, but our exhales are stimulating that parasympathetic nervous system, that rest and digest. So as we exhale, it calms us down, gets us ready to relax. So here at the end, can we prime our bodies for that deeper rest by making our exhales just a bit longer? All right, to come out of it, bringing our knees back in through center, maybe giving them one last big bear hug before we make our way into our final resting pose. So if you would like to do it seated, you are more than welcome to, or take a child's pose, whatever comfortable resting position is calling to you today. I'm going to go with my traditional Savasana with my feet grounded, my knees flopping in, just like it gives me a little bit more low back support on days where I'm just not feeling too great in my low spine. But your legs can be straight in front of you with the feet flopping out. Or of course, you can do this seated. And here we just have a couple of minutes to let that body integrate all of the beautiful work that you've done today. And just knowing that if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling triggered, you can modify. You are free to move in this pose. But can you commit to just staying on the mat for a few minutes and giving your body that safe space to process? So bringing that awareness into the nose, maybe focusing on your inhales and exhales, or bringing that awareness back to heart center and cultivating that felt sense of calm and peace. And just noticing whatever is coming up, observe it and let it be. All right, so if Savasana is calling to you, you're welcome to stay in it a little longer. If you would like to be guided out, you can start by just wiggling the fingers, wiggling the toes, inviting sensation back into the body, just a little at a time. Maybe doing some wrist circles, some ankle circles. Maybe starting to bring the arms up in front of you, giving a nice big good morning stretch. And then gently starting to roll over to one side, giving your spine a chance to reset. Maybe keeping the eyes closed for as long as feels comfortable, but gently starting to lift yourself up into a final seated position. And if you're in a seated position already, just holding on for a few minutes more. Coming into a comfortable seat, maybe hands on your knees or hands to heart center. Maybe some gentle rubbing, bringing warmth and sensation back into the fingers. And then pausing, bringing that awareness to the touch. And taking a moment here in gratitude at the end. You did it. You did the work. You're giving your body the space it needs to start to process what it needs. And that is a beautiful thing. So bringing that compassionate awareness to everything that we do. Know that whatever you chose to do or didn't do, it was enough. And we are all so grateful for you to do the work. So everything that you have shared today on this mat, we all benefit. And until we meet on our mats again, I bow to you and say Om Shanti. Peace. Thank you.